Good morning everyone, welcome to the EduSat Network. Today's topic of discussion is services marketing. In continuation with yesterday's lecture, today's discussion and today's focus will be on distribution in services sector. For this discussion, we have with us in the studio Dr. Ravi Shankar, renowned academician in the field of management education and professor at Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, IIFT, New Delhi. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you. So good morning, viewers. Yesterday we were talking about distribution as a concept in management, as a concept in marketing, and today we will look into the issues concerning distribution in services. I thought that I will just give you a recap what we were talking yesterday, and if we look at the monitor then you may realize that what we were discussing yesterday was that distribution means place decisions, where your products will be available. We discussed that objective of marketing is to provide goods and services when and where people want, and this when and where relates to distribution. In other words, we are talking about the place decision. So the place decisions for a physical item concerning things like location, delivery, and market coverage. We have seen that number of times we are buying things because they are available in our neighborhood. For example, if you are thinking of buying a particular product and if it is not available in your city, you just cannot buy. Therefore, the location becomes extremely important. For example, there is a company from Ludhiana which comes every year to the city of Delhi. They hire a temporary retail space, maybe at a banquet hall, maybe at a hotel, and they sell truckloads of woolens in the city of Delhi every day, and they generally come in the month of November and they stay on till February end. And over these 4 months, they do wonderful business. It's only because their goods are available at that location. We were also discussing yesterday that we talked about how they add value to the entire physical goods. We picked up an example: a farmer who is able to sell his goods through the mandi or adati, we call them as brokers, and the farmer finds it very difficult to take his goods directly to the consumer, and that is where these wholesalers, these people, they become extremely important. We discussed basically 2 issues yesterday. Because of the paucity of time, we couldn't pick up the third one, which is customer service, so we will take it up alongside that today. Now, when it comes to the services sector, I think there are 2 things which we need to understand that we are dealing with. There is a principle, service principle, which is originator, and then there is a service deliverer. Now, many a times in the services sector, it becomes very important that actually there is a principle and there are people who do business on behalf of the principle. For example, there could be a franchisee. Now, in the services sector, we have a franchisee. Service deliverer could be even a travel agent for an airlines, or so similarly, there could be many other examples. So we need to understand that there are service principals who are the originator of the service. They are the ones who provide the service, and there are other partners who are intermediaries who deliver the service to the people. We picked up the example of Dr. Lal's lab yesterday in the city of Delhi. There was a time when people had to go all the way down to the Hanuman Road to get their pathological and the other tests done. But today what is happening, that they have picked up local clinics, and the local clinics, many local clinics, now they are partnering with Dr. Lal's lab. Even in the place where I stay, there is a clinic, and from that clinic, someone comes to collect the blood samples from my house. In case I need to get my blood test done, I ring up that clinic. and the person comes from that clinic to collect the blood sample, and then they put it in they call it cold chain, and the samples through the cold chain goes to the lab. So who is delivering the service is the local clinic, and that is where we have to see the difference between the two. However, because the local lab is a franchisee of a reputed lab, which is say Dr. Lal or Fortis or any other for that matter, I treat it with a tremendous amount of trust and confidence. And that is where franchising becomes extremely important in the services sector. I have to come to some basics about services. That services have four characteristics: intangibility, inseparability, perishability, etc. Now that is four things which we have to understand that differentiate services from the manufactured goods. For example, services are intangible. Physical goods are tangible. When you are buying a pair of earrings, when you are buying a necktie, when you are buying a pair of shoes, you can examine the product before you purchase it. And therefore we call that the physical goods have search qualities. You search for certain qualities before you buy. Take for example, when you bought the sunglasses or spectacles which you have to wear because you require that to supplement your eyesight. Now you try to recollect that when someone is buying a pair of spectacles, like I pick up my reading glasses, I consider four factors are very important when I am buying specs. The first factor is my mirror image. The second factor is the price. The third is its weight. And the fourth is its sturdiness, durability. Now I am searching for those qualities and the combination of those four qualities, and that is why I make that shopkeeper showing me 20, 25, 30 odd frames. And I don't compromise on any of those four factors because those four factors are extremely important. If the price is very high but it is light and sturdy, I will not buy it. If I look terrible, it is cheap, it is durable, it is light, but my mirror image doesn't look very good, I will not buy it. So I am searching for those qualities in that pair of sunglasses or spectacles. It is in that context I am emphasizing that the physical goods have those search qualities, whereas those qualities don't exist in services. Services are typically experience qualities. That once you experience, only then you say, oh my God, it was a terrible airlines. I should not have traveled by that airlines. You just cannot. In physical goods, you can return the good. Many times you see a shirt or a top or any such thing at the shop. You like it. You feel the cloth. You say the cloth is good. The design looks nice. But when you wear it in the trial room, it doesn't look good on you. So you come back to the sales boy and says, no, I don't want this. Oh, it's little jazzy. It's too bright. It doesn't look very good, and I can't wear it at the workplace. So you are searching for certain qualities. Physical goods have search qualities. Services they don't have. Services are only experience. Once you go, once you use it, then you find that, oh, so that is where we call services are intangible. And that is where the challenge in the services sector is that this intangibility dimension has to be handled. Most of the airlines, they try to tangibilize the service. And that is the entire challenge in the services sector in terms of tangibilizing it. For example, a world-class airlines cannot have third-class aircrafts. They have to have world-class aircrafts. A world-class airlines has to have world-class cabin staff. They can't have third-class cabin staff. World-class airlines has to have world-class food. They cannot have third-class food. And that is where we call the entire challenges that you tangibilize. In the services sector, services typically are intangible, but that is the first characteristic of service. The second characteristic of service, as you can see from the diagram, is heterogeneity, that is variability. Services vary. Today you travel one airlines, it is good, flight it departs on time, the flight was very comfortable, the weather was very good, you are lucky, you didn't pass through turbulent weather, there was no bumpy flight, the flight reaches the destination on time, and because the flight was smooth, the flying was smooth, the cabin staff was able to serve you, and they serve you very well. You come back very satisfied. Next day, next time when you are traveling, it passes through rough weathers. So this flight is uncomfortable. The cabin staff cannot do the service to you because obviously the flight attendants have been also advised to remain on their seats. You suddenly get nausea because of the aircraft suddenly loses height and it comes down drastically because of the air pocket, and you want the attendants to come and attend to you, but the attendants have been advised not to leave their seat. You actually vomit and in the bag given to you, and always you will definitely come back and you say that, look, what a lousy airlines, even the staff didn't care for me. I had a poor health condition in the flight. In spite of that, they didn't care to attend to me, and so on. So services are heterogeneous, whereas physical goods are homogeneous. You buy Coke in Delhi, you buy Coke in Bombay, you buy Coke in Hapur, you buy Coke in Bareilly. It's just going to be the same which you buy here. So that is the second characteristic of services. Services are heterogeneous. The third is perishability. Services perish. You cannot put them into inventory. For example, a bottle of Coke, if it is not sold today, it can be sold tomorrow. But an airlines with the 20 seats going vacant and the flight is about to leave the airport, and 20 seats they are unable to sell. Tomorrow they can't sell more than the total capacity. So the revenue for those 20 seats, it has gone forever. And finally, perishability, and finally, inseparability. Services cannot be separated from the persons who perform. And that is where, in case Lata Mangeshkar night, and if Lata Mangeshkar comes for that, is going to have a huge crowd, and people are willing to pay because she is a celebrity, she has been conferred Bharat Ratna, and she doesn't do public performances too often. But someone else is singing her songs, doesn't make it Lata Mangeshkar night. So obviously services cannot be separated from the people who perform. And the second dimension of inseparability is that a bottle of Coke is produced last week, it is sold yesterday, it is consumed today in my house. So production, sales and distribution, and consumption are three separate activities, whereas a surgery is produced, consumed, and distributed now in operation theater in a particular hospital. So they cannot be separated. So production, sales, and consumption are separate activities. If I try to give you diagrammatically or some of these characteristics, I think you will be getting more clarity about it. Intangibility means services cannot be felt, you cannot smell. We have five senses, so cannot be stored, there cannot be a display, and the communication problems. For example, an airlines may say, you are in good hands with, say, XYZ Airlines, 5-star airlines. That doesn't have any meaning. And therefore, the second characteristics when we talk about perishability, that an airlines, a flight leaving airport with the 20% seats vacant, you cannot store them. So inventorization is not possible. Lost sales, lost income. And in the services sector, therefore, the challenges are demand management, cope up with the fluctuation, forecasting is very important, and also look at better match through delivery processes. For example, what is fast food? What is the meaning of fast? The meaning of fast is the rate at which people are coming inside the store at the same rate they should go out. Otherwise, there will be a chaos inside the store. That is the meaning of fast food. The third is heterogeneity. Since services are delivered by people, I think majority of the cases services are delivered by people. So variations are bound to be there, and therefore standardization and quality control is difficult. And it is being said in services sector, the solution is also in standardization. You standardize people through training, give them training so that everyone works at the same level. Use automation to some extent if it is possible. And industrialization. The way a car gets assembled on an assembly line over a fixed period of time, perhaps a patient can be also attended in a hospital over a fixed period of time. If you are able to do so, you will have much greater satisfaction. There are hospitals which have given that kind of a benchmark. They say that the registration formality should be over in 10 minutes. In government hospitals, perhaps the registration itself is a big task. Reaching to the specialist is another great challenge. Whereas private hospitals, they are now drawing analogies from and taking up lessons from industrialization, and they look at service delivery more in terms of we call it assembly line approach to services. The way a car gets assembled on the assembly line over a fixed period of time, in the similar way the patient may be given attention. And that is where some of the good hospitals, they have benchmarks that a patient coming to the casualty ward must be handed over to the concerned medical department in 40 minutes or 45 minutes. If it is delayed, then it comes up for the review with the senior medical superintendent in the weekly meetings. Why the patient was not handed over to the medical department from the casualty department in the 45 minutes time or 40 minutes time. So this is where we call this in the services sector. And finally, in the service sector, we always say each customer is different, each patient is different, each customer has its own requirements, and therefore the solution is also in customization. I always give this example. 3 people go to a dentist with the right hand on their right cheek. Dentist doesn't give the same treatment to everybody. Each patient has different problems. Though the symptoms are same, they have problems on the right side of their cheek, and that is why they put their hand on the right cheek. In the first case, the dentist examines and says, oh, there is a small, perhaps you hurt your gums. You may have tried to open the Pepsi bottle, and that edge of that lid of the bottle, you hurt your gum, so there is some infection. Nothing is wrong. Just eat antibiotics for 3 days, you will be all right. In the second case, he may say, oh, there is a small cavity. I will do the filling, and you will be all right. In the third case, may say that, look, it's a complex case. You require root canal, and I need to do that. It will take some time. And that is where customization is the solution in the services sector, that each patient, I've just given this example, and I think it's good enough for you. And finally, I say that in the services sector, it cannot be, in the manufacturing sector, the production, distribution, and consumption are 3 different activities: production, sales, and consumption, the way we have shown. But the way we show it in the lower part of the slide, production, sales, and consumption, all 3 are linked. in the services sector. Take for example, as I mentioned earlier, the way I said that a surgery is produced, is consumed, is distributed simultaneously. So friends, arising out of the discussions, I must say that services have characteristics of intangibility, perishability, and heterogeneity, etc. So from these characteristics, one can conclude that in service organizations, the distribution house is also the production house. A hospital is a distribution house, and it is the production house also of the medical care services. Fortis, as a hospital, is setting up more than 300 kind of empaneled hospitals in the city. This is what I read somewhere, which means the facilities will be available in 300 cities across India. And that is how they will be the production house and the distribution house. And this production house and distribution house has some capacity. So there is an inventory issue there. For example, an educational institution, if it has only 4 classrooms, it can only pick up that number of students. It cannot enroll larger number of students. So that production house and distribution house has certain capacity, and that is what they have in the inventory. For example, a particular airlines, what do they have in inventory? They have in the inventory the total flights which they fly multiplied by the number of seats, and that many seats they have to sell every day for different destinations. So that is what they have in inventory. And that is how we look at the inventory issues in the services sector. The distribution issues in the services sector could be, like for airlines, unsold or spare seats, in hotels, unsold or the rooms which they have, car rental, unsold vehicles, and maybe in education, unsold program seats. It's very interesting to note one of the news items a couple of days ago which came in the newspaper, that large number of luxury hotels, premium hotels, they have developed packages, weekend packages for the holiday packages and the weekend packages for their customers, and their occupancy rate has gone up. It says that all the 4 major hotel chains, which is Oberoi, Taj, ITC Welcome Group, and the Leela, all the 4 groups, they have picked up the holiday packages where they have not reduced the room rent, but they added the facilities. For example, you can come early, you can check out late, there will be internet in the room, you can have free access to the health club, you can have free access to the sauna bath, breakfast free, and so on. And they found that a lot of people are coming to the hotel just to have the weekend and relax there and go back to the workplace. In fact, they found that their occupancy has gone up. So coming to the distribution in services, as I mentioned that there are issues like airlines, hotels, car rental, management, any other. In fact, there are hospitals where the OPD facility is not properly utilized, underutilized. OPD facilities are underutilized. I'm aware of one of the hospitals where it's very close to the place where I work, where the OPD facility is underutilized because large number of hospitals are there in the nearby vicinity. Their the beds are generally occupied, but the OPD remains underutilized. So there are 2 methods of service distribution which we have seen. The first is direct sales and sales. The second is sales via intermediaries. What kind of service intermediaries one can seek? It could be franchising, it could be agents and brokers like travel agent, insurance agents, or it could be electronic channels like ATM, online courses, etc. There are different strategies which companies have used. The first is all roads lead to the Rome. The meaning of such a distribution strategy is reach a target set of customers through every available means. So all roads lead to Rome. That means you pick up any channel, but you have to reach out to the customer. The second distribution channel is different strokes for different people, which means different types of intermediaries have particular advantage in reaching different target customers, and keep that thing into consideration while developing the distribution strategy. The third is customer is the king. Classic diversification strategy, that you look at your customers and fill up the pipeline is the next. Try to use available capacity profitably. Whatever distribution strategy you have, get the maximum out of it. All things to all people, which is fairly pure diversification strategy. So typically there are 6 options you have, but the configuration which you are finding, the channel design to decide is number 1, number of intermediaries you will have, the levels which you have. Yesterday we were talking about 40 versus 14, that in case there are 4 manufacturers and they have to reach out to the 10 retailers, each one of them will have that kind of transaction, so 40 transactions will take place. But the moment you put a wholesaler in between, the number of transactions are reduced from 40 to 14. And that is where we say that number of intermediaries, which mean number of levels, are critical. The second is type of intermediaries which you use, which means whether you are using a wholesaler, whether you are using a stockist, whether you are using a broker, but that is something you need to take a decision about. Allocation of value adding functions amongst the channel participation. What value addition function they will do? If the channel participant doesn't do the value addition, then that channel may not really be advised. We will pick up some examples as we go along to elaborate on this point. Kind of material and technological support the participant uses. That is another aspect of that kind of distribution, materials and technologies those people they use, and the service itself, its elements and dimensions of those elements. Let us look at the insurance sector, and that is an example I was talking about, that in the insurance sector they use intermediaries. We call them insurance agent. I'm sure I personally know that I have never bought an insurance policy on my own directly. I have gone by the advice of the insurance agent. What an insurance agent does, the insurance agent actually does the value addition. So that is one function which the insurance agent does. The insurance agent advises me on what policy I should take. So he not only recommends, but he actually interacts with me elaborately and do that. He also passes on a part of his incentive to me, and therefore that is the second function, which he says. I remember there was a time somebody insurance agent came to me and he said, you have paid the annual premium of about 60,000 rupees, but this time you have to pay only 40,000 first year. And I found that it is attractive, and what really he did, he passed on his first year incentive to me and got me, but for the next 9 years the incentive was going to him. So this is where we look at the different function they are performing. And I have no regrets about it, because it was a wonderful insurance policy which I got, because it has 13% assured return, and 13% insured return is not and the maximum allowed under that policy was 60,000 per year, and he made me buy that policy. So friends, and then the different kinds of service they render. Very recently, a couple of years ago, actually I needed some money, so my insurance agent told me that I can take a loan against that policy from that insurance company, and it will be processed in 48 hours or so. So you can see that different functions are performed. If I actually rang up my insurance agent and told him that, look, I have given that kind of money, and I need some money because I have to put my child in a good college. So should I cancel my policy? He said, why you cancel, sir? You take a loan. So this is a service which the agent has done. And it is therefore suggested that in the services sector also, the intermediaries play a major role, and they do help you in variety of ways. Look at travel agent. The travel agents also do different kind of a function. You ring them up, they give you, they advise you, airlines and so on. If there is some problem with your baggage, they even revert back to you. I remember once it happened with me. My baggage didn't arrive. I was overseas actually, and I didn't know whom to contact. I went to the airlines office. They said, we only sell tickets. We don't look into those lost baggage. You go to the airport. I went back to the airport the following day. Nothing happened. And finally, I rang up my travel agent, though it costed me some amount. And my travel agent told me that, sir, your baggage has been tracked and it will be reaching you tomorrow. And rest assured, it will be there and it will come by such and such flight. So you'll be at the airport to pick up your baggage. And they will also give you some compensation. So do claim that. So that kind of an advice the travel agent has given. Let's move further, and we use a concept in the services sector. We call it quasi-retailing. What is quasi? Quasi means false, but it's retailing. A barber shop. A barber shop is a retail shop. It's a production house of the service, but it is rendered from there. So there are examples of quasi-retailing like hairdressers, travel agent, car hire, restaurants, amusement parks, employment agencies, hotels, driving schools. There could be many. The quasi-retail outlets sell services rather than goods, and they create services also. They produce services also. I mentioned to you earlier also, the line of demarcation between goods and services is very thin. When you buy a car, it's a product, it's a good. When you hire a car, it is a service. So that is the line of demarcation between goods and services. So you use certain things, and that is how car hire agency, they ring you up which car you require and so on. So classification of shops or offices and other non-retail outlets like class 1, class 2. But the argument against quasi-retailing, there are certain arguments about quasi-retailing. The argument against quasi-retailing is they can push up the property value. In the city of Delhi, I can speak with much greater conviction that the complexion of the Connaught Place area has undergone a total change over the last 20 years. 20 years ago, when we were moving around in the inner circle, there was a shop called Janki Das and Company. That shop doesn't exist anymore. From Janki Das and Company, you could buy the household supplies, you could buy the bicycle even, you can buy the crockery, cutlery, toaster, cooker, any of those items. It was a two-storied kind of an outlet. And in place of that particular store, something else has come up. There were no fast food, the so-called, McDonald's or Pizza Hut. Any of these companies were just not there in India. But now they have their outlets in the inner circle of Connaught Place. this mobile phone service provider was not existing 2 decades ago. But today, when you are walking inside the inner circle, you find a Voda store or Vodafone store or Airtel store and so on. Similarly, the banks had limited space requirements, but today when you are moving around in the inner circle, you come across ATM counters of so many banks. So these are all service providers, whether it is Vodafone, whether it is a bank, whether it is fast food outlet, these are all services. So these service organizations have pushed up the property value. So they can push up the property value, they can create a dead frontage which discourage window shopping. So many times when we were shopping or you shop, you get attracted to certain things which you see from the display window and then you go inside. But what do a travel agent will display? Or what do a fast food outlet will display? Or what ATM counter will display? So that is where they have a dead frontage. It doesn't give you any excitement. So some service outlets may be closed over peak shopping days, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Maybe the banks might be closed, and therefore the ATM counter, if ATM counter is a part of the bank, it might be closed. So, or travel agent Mercury Travels has an office there, and it might be closed that day. So some service outlet may be closed on peak shopping days, and too many quasi-retail outlets in the center can reduce the range conventional retail stores have. In fact, a lot of people, they don't go to Connaught Place anymore because the fact that they cannot shop whatever they want to buy for their homes. So they want to go to a mall where they can pick up everything which they want to buy. And that is the argument against quasi-retailing, that quasi-retail outlets, they change the complexion of the market shopping area. On one side, the property value goes up. On the other side, the consumers may not even go there to buy. But there is an argument for quasi-retailing that many complement each other. For example, if I am in Connaught Place and shopping, if I need money, I can go to the ATM counter. If I am hungry, I can go and buy a burger. So that is how they say that they can complement also. And service outlets can have imaginative window display to encourage window shopping. For example, a travel agent can even promote a holiday package. They can come out with a nice, great display for a holiday package. For example, some of the travel agent may say that, okay, for 3 days you can have a holiday in Vrindavan, and we will arrange a holiday package, give you a holiday package for Holi. And it's going to be a great fun for you. You leave on Friday on evening and come back on Monday evening after the Holi. And the Holi festival in Vrindavan has already started. So there are certain suggestions to encourage that, which says that encourage customers to travel longer distances with special promotions. I remember many of these people, they even have, they call it brunch. Brunch means lunch and breakfast together. So you can, and it is, or we call it extended breakfast. So breakfast is available till 12 o'clock, and it's actually having some of the items of the lunch, or it's a mini lunch, a functional kind of a thing. But people do travel long distances. For the brunch, they go to the mall. They not only have the brunch, then they shop, and then they see a movie, and they come back. So this is how quasi-retailing can actually, and in cities like Hyderabad, Bangalore, Delhi, it's very common. Locate service outlet near to the complementary facilities like multiplex theater complexes and entertainment centers. Even the child care is important, that husband and wife, they are shopping and buying the household supplies, and children have been put in the children's section and for an hour, and they are happy playing different games, and you come back completing your weekly or monthly shopping. Centralized service production facilities but decentralized customer contact facilities. This is what is being done in the healthcare sector, particularly the pathological labs or pathological labs, particularly that they take the sample, but the analysis is not done by the local medical clinic. The sample goes to the main lab itself, or photography, that the local studios only collect, but the photos are developed on ultra modern machines which are located in a centralized. In the city of Delhi, it's very common that quite a few labs, they have their collection centers, and they send the photographs for development to the centralized where they have a big ultra modern machine where they can process the photographs. Another suggestions are reduce the range of needs satisfied at individual service outlet. For example, hospital services. Today, hospitals are getting increasingly specialized. In the city of Delhi, we have hospitals. Very interesting that you have hospitals which are just for eye. There are hospitals which are only for the renal problems. There are hospitals for spinal injury. There are hospitals for cancer, heart, liver. So you can see that they have reduced the range, which means only those kind of people, because it's a hospital which has only 200 rooms, and if they cater to everybody, they're going to have a stampede. But they specialize in those, and that is where they have reduced the range to and offer highly specialized services. Like even educational institutions, there are educational institutions on mass media, there are educational institutions on management, there are educational institutions on fashion technology, there are educational institutions on food, nutrition, and hospitality, and so on. So they have reduced that range. On one hand, they have the advantage. On the other hand, they create specializations. So that is how we look at share service capacity to achieve economy and production of cost. So that is another dimension of it, that you share the capacity. For example, the automobile retail will also have a counter for insurance and for bank loan. Now, this was not there in earlier times. Today, you go to if you have to buy the car, go to the showroom. If you have to pick up a bank finance, you need not to go to your bank. Just the financer bank is there, and they have a small counter. And if you have to get the insurance, car insurance, then there is an insurance agency also has a small counter there. And that is how they share the capacity. In fact, hospitals, they also have the counter for all the patients who are coming for the Mediclaim, that they have a health insurance, and the payments have to be made by the insurance company. So they have a small counter to process those kind of claims and so on. So improve efficiency in production procedures, and that is another dimension of it, that you improve efficiency in the production. And you can do the improvement either by substituting equipment to people or by training the people. And that is how you improve efficiency in the production process. Friends, I mentioned to you that yesterday we could not talk about customer service. So we will talk about customer service today. And what is customer service? Customer service has three dimensions. We call it pre-transactional, transactional, and post-transactional. It's being said that the customers require service at every level. Before the transaction also you require certain service. And in the services sector, you require enormously. For example, I may ring up a hospital to find out if there is an eye specialist and what time the eye specialist will come, and can I book get a slot today, and can I get an approximate time I should come. So the hospital may tell me the specialist will come between 12 and 2. Sir, there are already 6 patients who have taken the time appointments, so you will be the 7th and you may report at 1 o'clock. No financial transaction has taken place, but this is nothing but a pre-transactional dimension. If I reach by 1:15, it's okay because still the doctor is meeting the 5th or the 6th patient. My turn is 7th. And that is how, the moment I need not to report at 12 o'clock and keep on waiting, in spite of the fact my turn is 7th, I keep waiting till 1:15 or so. So these are all, we call it pre-transactional element. It applies to the physical goods also. Try to recollect when in your household you bought the television. You must have gone to the shop and the shopkeeper must have shown you so many brands. You wanted to see the transmission of same program across different brands of television. So the same program is received on one TV, you found it's very bright. On the other, the colors were not natural. So you picked the third, the sound was not very clear, and or the price was very high. So this is how we call it, the shopkeeper has to have the patience to help you to examine, evaluate, try it out. So these are all pre-transactional elements. So you have to have a policy for it. As a company, you must have a statement of policy. What do you want to do that? You have to have the systems for that. So you need to develop that system, and also the technical support you have to provide. For example, I may ask how this is better, how this car is superior than the other car. So that technically they should be able to explain to you. So many times we go to a restaurant and we read in the menu a particular title of the dish and we don't know what are the ingredients of that dish. So we ask that order taker what it is. So if the order taker doesn't know the ingredients, we tell him, okay, leave it. But he says, no sir, I'll just come back after checking with the chef. If you have a follow-up question, is it too oily? He says, sir, I'll come back and check with the chef and come back to you. You get disgusted. So these are pre-transactional elements is also the technical dimension. So the order taker must know how each dish is prepared in a restaurant so that he can advise the customers about the ingredients appropriately. So these are, first we call it pre-transactional. The second is transactional, that is working relationships, the staff training and the handling of customers. For example, in private hospitals, why people say that it's better pay more but go to the private hospital. It's not that in the government hospitals the doctors are less qualified. Actually in the government hospitals doctors are more qualified. Because in the government system, nobody can get in with proper qualifications, because that is the minimum eligibility for that position. But the perception is that it's better to pay more and go to the private hospital. Why? Because of the working relations. In government hospitals, you invariably hear a statement, this is not my job. ये मेरा काम नहीं है. I'll call somebody, sir, who will do the job. मैं बुला के लाता हूँ. But in private hospitals, this statement you never hear. Private hospitals, when they hire paramedical staff, nursing staff, they are told they have to do everything to extend comfort to the patient. sooner the better. So therefore, the working relationships are very important. Transactional elements are very important. In a restaurant, you want some more dish to be ordered, but the order taker is not coming. You want more chapatis, but the order taker is not coming. So will you be happy? Obviously not. And this is where we call it transactional elements are extremely important in terms of working relationship, and for that you have to give training to the staff to handle customers. Then we look at post-transactional elements, which is in the manufacturing sector, it is installation, warranty, repair, which are all post-transactional element. But in the healthcare sector, the post-transactional element could be periodic checkups after the surgery is done, proper counseling to the person, and so on. And in the manufacturing sector, spare parts, customer claims, and customer complaints are extremely important. In the services sector, also we call it, in the services sector, service recovery system is very important. If a company has failed to deliver the service, they must have a service recovery policy. And this is an extremely important dimension of service distribution, that service recovery system. The way in Domino's they say 30-minute delivery, but if they don't deliver in 30 minutes, they say that the next time when you order, you get some discount or free or whatever. So in the after-sales service could be service after sales or after-sales service. In the manufacturing sector, it talks about warranty administration, maintenance repair, preventive inspection, in-warranty repair, repair of the service center, emergency troubleshooting, maintenance contracts, part standardization, stocking of obsolete replacement parts, and information service to customers. But in the services sector, I think it is nothing but what I call the recovery system, that the company is unable to deliver, but they have a recovery policy, that your consignment hasn't come. For example, the courier company, you book a packet, it doesn't reach you, what they do to look at. And finally, we look at the locational issues in the services sector. Shrinking retail attraction radius may pose challenges for market coverage. Let me explain this concept, which is extremely relevant in the services sector. The concept of attraction radius is that a particular retail outlet has a radius from where people come, and that is the attraction radius. Gone are the days when in the city of Delhi, Palika Bazaar was an attraction for anybody and everybody. In fact, I remember any relative of ours, if he or she was coming from outside Delhi, they wanted to visit Palika Bazaar because it was surprising that below the ground, underground, there is a huge market, amazing. Today, you don't want to go to Palika Bazaar at all. Why? Because of the kind of products which are sold there. In fact, the civilized people, they don't want to be seen shopping at Palika Bazaar. So the attraction radius has shrunk. Try to just take the example of nearby Kirana store. Maybe there is a shop from where your mothers or your wives buy the household supplies. What will be the distance from where people are coming to that particular shop? That is the meaning of attraction radius. The fact is, the way traffic is increasing in every city in this country, the attraction radius is shrinking. It is becoming extremely important for companies to be present at different locations to cover the market and harness the market potential. For a bank, it is extremely important. For a fast food operator, it is extremely important. Yesterday, I gave the example of Haldiram. any new mall which is coming up, Haldiram opens their store because people will not travel long distances to go to that. And in fact, the multi-site location, multi-site operation is the key to success in many service organizations, and therefore the locational issues, as I was showing in my slide, are critical. So friends, to summarize, I must say that in service sector, you have to also look at your channel partners. You have to have your presence in the market because the attraction radius is shrinking. You may say that retailing is only relevant for the manufacturing sector. No, it is not. I was reading a news item, even a wonderful Mr. Habib, who has a saloon for men. He is opening up 50 saloons in India and abroad to expand his network. So friends, we conclude at this note and hope this interaction may have given you some new insight into the issues we have in distribution in the context of services.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. I am sure that the listeners will greatly benefit from this very interesting lecture. And before we sum up what we learned during this lecture, I was thinking that a probable question that might be coming from the viewers is that you talked about customer service and the various elements that are covered in customer service. What could one do if one has grievances, as you were taking clear examples? If one has grievances, if one is not satisfied with the kind of customer service that is being provided despite the high cost. Sir, sorry to interrupt you. Sir, we are actually getting a question from Nagpur, so I would be keen that we take that first.
Sure.
Yes, please tell us the question. Is the service marketing possible in rural and tribal areas? If yes, how?
Friends, it's being said for a large number of companies that rural market is becoming extremely important. The fact is that a lot of people from the rural area, they come to the urban area and they go back and they buy goods and services from the urban area. And that is where the rural areas are actually becoming the market for the large number of service providers. I remember I belong to a district town, and in my district town, a lot of people come from the rural area for work, and large number of even the casual labor on the weekend comes from the rural area. In fact, when our family house was under construction, we picked up some casual worker from the, we call it a road crossing. And on that crossing, people come and assemble in the morning. And they came and they told us, we just started talking to them, and they were students. And they said that, sir, we have come here, we are physically fit, we don't get, our parents cannot afford to give us pocket money. So we come here and work as a casual labor for 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. We get the hadi, and then we see a movie, we eat good food, we buy some clothes for ourselves if we need, and then we go back. So the fact is today, like the entertainment in a district town or a small town, actually the rural market is coming. Education, the same thing. And so many services are being are availed by the rural people coming to the nearby urban area.
Right. So another question we have. What is the difference between retailing outlets and quasi-retailing outlets?
The retail outlet only provide the physical goods, and the quasi-retail outlet not only provide the service but also produce the service. So it is a production house, and the production house and the consumption house. A dentist has a clinic. It's a production house of the dentist services, but that they also retail it there. So that is why we call it quasi-retailing.
Okay, thank you so much for the questions. I hope your questions were answered by sir, and if you have any more, we probably have some more time, you could send them in, or Okay, well, as we come to close the lecture, we come to the end of the lecture. I'd like to say a bit about what we just covered, and we looked at the characteristics of services sector, different distribution channels, multi-marketing strategies, channel design, and what was very interesting is that Sir supported these points with a lot of examples, very real life examples, so it becomes easy for us to relate to them. And we looked at quasi-retailing and arguments against it, customer service, and also location issues. So I hope you all will be tuned in for the next lecture of the series on services marketing. Have a good day all, and thank you so much, sir, again.
Thank you.